lived a life surrounded by heroes. None bigger than all of you. Since the day you joined, same as anyone in the line of duty, heroes. Because we sign up to lose each other. To get close to good people and have them taken away. We've all suffered losses. Never lose sight of that.
So was this an amazing season finale or what? Now, I know a lot of people out there are sitting in a corner right now, crying their eyes out, throwing tantrums, and going, there was no major Infinity War tie-in. The writers did not know much about Infinity War's ending. They are probably going as well, we knew it, it's not all connected, that is all bullshit, all of that good stuff that I keep getting in comments every single time we talk about tie-ins and crossovers. So going out of this season, there are two things that I'm going to explain once and for all. This is one of them, and the second one is all about Space Fitz. Why I don't think Space Fitz should make it back, or should even be available to make it back at this moment. Now I'm going to be talking about the former on this video. I'm going to be discussing the latter on a separate video to discuss all the aspects of my thoughts when it comes to Fitz and Space Fitz. With that being said though, welcome back guys. So what a brilliant season finale. Really loved every little bit of it. These guys never seem to disappoint. And there is good reason for everything they've done on this finale. There's a good reason we didn't get a tie-in. There was a good reason we got the episode as it is, the way it is, with everything that happened within it. So the first few points I'm going to be discussing here are facts you need to consider when evaluating this episode. Evaluating stuff like a tie-in or the lack thereof with Avengers Infinity War, for example. So number one, the season finale of season 6 was set up in such a way that it would act as a series finale. Number two, because it was set up to be a series finale, because they knew in advance they were doing this, they set it up in such a way that it would provide us with closure. The producers of the series have a certain level of conscience, a very heightened level of conscience to be honest, and they work in such a way that they do things right, they work in such a way that they serve their fans. There are incidents through the history of TV series where writers actually wrote very rough cliffhangers on purpose in order to get renewed, or to get their fans to take to social media and start rioting. Oh, renew the series. Oh, save the series. But this is not what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did, or the producers of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did. What they did over here is they try to make sure that we get closure. But do I need to explain what closure means in this context? Alright, so closure in the context of TV series means that we get no cliffhangers by the end of the season. It also means that there are no pending issues, no pending arcs, no pending storylines, everything has been handled, and we know what happened to every single character, and we know what happened with every single storyline. Everything's pretty much been resolved, and there are no question marks by the end of the season. And when you kind of think about it, that has been achieved because nothing would have screamed a major question mark at the very end of the season, a major cliffhanger, like people just dusting and vanishing into thin air. That would have been a major question mark. That would have not been a series finale. That would have been a season finale, and a very cliffhanger-ish one at that. Number 3, they only got news of the renewal over the past couple of days. Now I know some of us are selectively listening, but I've been repeating this over every single video, or almost every single video over the past couple of weeks. I've been talking about the fact that if they get renewed last minute, they might not have the time to incorporate anything out of Infinity War, a major tie-in out of Infinity War, and they just got renewed like 4 days ago, so they had to end it before the snapping. They had to end it before Thanos snapped his fingers. That did make a lot of sense because they didn't have enough time to change that kind of ending. There is one complaint I do have that I'm going to be talking about later, but until I get to that point, this part at least does make sense. Number 4, there's still room for more. I know a lot of you are thinking right now, okay, why did Jeff Loeb say that the Avengers are going to find out that Coulson is still alive? I know as well that a lot of you are thinking, okay, so Coulson is gonna die. How will the Avengers ever find out that Coulson is still alive? Well, for one thing, Coulson did make it back once before, make it back from the land of the dead to the land of the living. But there is one more important thing to consider over here. We did not see a corpse. We did not see a dead Coulson. So there is always the chance that Coulson is not gonna die, that we're gonna see Coulson again on season 6, that we might end up seeing him on a movie like Avengers 4 or movies that follow. But one thing that a lot of us are probably very excited about is that Melinda happened at the very end of the season, like a full-on version of Melinda. So while it may seem that Coulson is going away, withering and dying, May and Coulson did get their moment, or shall I say moments, and in Tahiti nonetheless. Now I do love how far they took the entire "it's coming full circle" thing. I do love that Coulson landed in Tahiti. I did love how he went Gotta say, it's pretty magical. I did love that he has a bucket list this time around, and that he's got the time, even though pretty limited, to deal with everything on that bucket list. Number 5, Mack as the new leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., the new fearless leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, I know a lot of people have been complaining about Daisy or her style of leadership. I'm personally one of those people. I just like that kind of leadership, you know, the rough around the edges, the rough on the inside. I'm not going to listen to anyone. I'm going to make the decisions, and I'm going to go with it. I mean, even if you want to do that, you got to act like you're listening. But if there's anything that tells us that Daisy is ready, that Daisy got smarter and learned from her mistakes, it is the fact that she stepped down on last night's episode and handed Mack the mantle of leadership. That was quite the smart move, because only a good leader knows when to step down, and only a good leader knows when to hand the mantle over to the next person standing in line, the next person who can do the job way better than they could. Number 6, of course as well, I do love Mack's first decision. What are we gonna do? We're gonna save people. I did as well love how they called everyone on the ground. Who are you? We are S.H.I.E.L.D. I love the joy and the sigh of relief that we saw on the face of that cop. That tells you a lot. That tells you that S.H.I.E.L.D. is back in the public eye. That tells you that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been missed. That tells you that no matter how much they try to ruin S.H.I.E.L.D. in the public eye, people will always realize that S.H.I.E.L.D. is their savior. Number 7, Coulson never used the centipede serum. So for a series finale, that's a perfect ending. Coulson is dying. Coulson is over. He's gonna enjoy his life for what remains of it, but soon enough, his life is gonna be over and done with. But this second life of Coulson, he's utilized it. He's made the best out of it. He's used it to advance S.H.I.E.L.D., to make S.H.I.E.L.D. a better organization. He created one hell of a team, built one hell of a team that is going to continue the job after him. Coulson did not just have a full life, he had 2 full lives. One in which he ended up working with the Avengers, even though they got him dead real quick there, and the second one in which he ended up working with S.H.I.E.L.D. And this one, in my opinion, was the better one. This one was the greater one. And I did love the speech he gave at the very end. That thing almost had me in tears over there. But here's the twist though, we never got to see a corpse, we never got to see Coulson die, so what I'm thinking over here is they did this on purpose. They gave us a Coulson on the verge of dying. They gave us the impression that Coulson is gonna die, because if this were to be a series finale, then yeah, Coulson is dead. This is the end of an era. But if they were to get renewed for a season 6, and they did get renewed for a season 6, they would have room to wiggle, room to change that part of the story, and let Coulson live. So yeah, I do think they're gonna make room for both Coulson and May on season 6, and I do think they're gonna bring them back for said season. Number 8, at the very end of the season finale, the whereabouts of one Deke Shaw are unknown. So what in the hell happened to Deke? Now, because of how clever they seem to have written the series finale, I mean, they wrote Coulson into death, but they still left room to bring him back, but not really killing him at the very end of the episode. They did the same with Deke. So Deke has this prolonged conversation with Daisy about not being part of the team, about vanishing if things change, all of that good stuff, and then he leaves the lighthouse, and we don't know what happened to him beyond that point. So if this were to be a series finale, the first assumption we would make is that Deke did vanish, because, you know, events of the future have changed. But in a similar manner to the case of us not seeing a corpse, not seeing Coulson die, we did not see Deke vanish. So there is a good chance that Deke is still roaming the earth out there, still looking for lemons or whatever it is that he's looking for, and hugging some trees while he's at it. So yeah, I do believe that Deke is going to be back next season. I do believe that they left room for bringing him back, while kind of insinuating that he vanished at the end of the season, just in case this ended up being a series finale. Now, there's a lot of talk about timelines that we could have over here that I'm going to discuss on a separate video. A lot of talk that does explain how Deke could stay in the present, even though the future he came from, the very core future, kind of changed. And if Deke were to still exist in this timeline, in this universe, this newly created timeline, or this newly created universe, as a result of changing everything, then that would as well mean that they shouldn't be able to get that Fitz on his way to the future, traveling 74 years through time and space. But number 9, let's talk the defeat of Talbot. So pretty much that mix that Daisy injected herself with in order to be able to quake Talbot away from her, that was the centipede serum mixed with Jiaying's DNA. The vial of odium was destroyed by May in order to make sure that the centipede serum is used to cure Coulson, rather than to wreck Talbot and take him down. So no, it was not the odium. But one thing we need to consider over here and for future seasons, and by centipede logic, is that Daisy is overpowered. Daisy's powers just multiplied by a whole lot, enough for her to kick Talbot into the sky and out into space. And no, Talbot is not coming back. Talbot is dead. Talbot has frozen in space. Talbot is gone for good. good. Really sad, because I did like the character of Talbot, and I did like the portrayal of Adrian Pasdar. All the bickering in the past between him and Coulson, between him and May, and between him and everyone in S.H.I.E.L.D. I did love all of that. But this season has changed the trope and the narrative, decided to give us Graviton in the form of Glenn Talbot, and they did a great job at that. So even though Adrian Pasdar will be missed in the role of Glenn Talbot, we can live with this situation, given how amazing they did Graviton on the season. Number 10, let's talk each and every character before we end this review, each and every character separately. So first of all, let's talk Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo has got her emotional redemption. Now, I think that Yo-Yo was acting emotionally, and for me, emotional acting is stupid. Making decisions in 30 seconds is kind of a stupid trope. I would never do that in my life, and I would never think anyone who's smart enough to make good decisions would do that. But Elena over here has been making those kind of decisions since the moment she came back from 2091 and almost all the way throughout the second half of the season. Now, you cannot blame her for all of it. You can blame her for the part where she didn't tell them the truth the moment she came back, everything that her future self told her, but you cannot blame her for her emotional state. I mean, coming to think about it, seeing your future self having lost both of her arms, having died and been revived, repeatedly, only to be used as a lab rat and then as a seer against your friends. That is obviously extremely painful, but even if you could get yourself jump-started on hope, go on and go forth and push forward in order to make sure that life goes on and in order to make sure that you change things, seeing the prophecy come true, getting your own arms amputated, that changes things completely, makes you think that everything you saw in the future would come into effect. So Yo-Yo should have told everyone else. That would have made her life easier, that would have changed things, that would have allowed her to calm down a little bit and not to be so hated by some people. I never really hated Yo-Yo though, I only hated some of her actions. But anyway, you look at the finale and they've given her the kind of emotional redemption that I wanted her to have by the end of the season. The scene where she walks into Coulson's room and talks to him about not arguing for him to die, about arguing for them not to bet everything on him.
I just want you to know, no matter what they say, I was never arguing for you to die. I was just arguing to not bet everything on you.
And I would have taken your side.
I know. Why did you listen to me? What have I done? Forgive me. Por favor, Dios mío. Perdóname por
Now, if you're one of those Olicity type fans who defended Yo-Yo just for no reason, just because we've got to defend Yo-Yo because we love Yo-Yo, because that's how we operate as fans, then I don't think you enjoyed that scene as much as I did. That scene literally gave me a tear or two. That is the entire point about how Yo-Yo was written this season, how Yo-Yo was written over the course of this second and third arcs of the season. She was written in that way on purpose. She was written in that way for the emotional turmoil that would bring, the emotional roller coaster that she would take you on. I love Yo-Yo, but I'm very angry at her. I love Yo-Yo, but I don't like her actions. I love Yo-Yo, and oh my god, I'm sympathizing with her at this very moment. Number 11, Mack should call the shots. Mack has the biggest heart. Mack is our moral center. I did love the part about Mack on this episode. I did love how the acknowledgement came that he is the moral center. I did love how they all agreed together that Mack is the guy, that Mack is the one to lead them after Coulson is gone. And they did all of that while thinking that Coulson is still there with them. So that was really good. That was really great. And Daisy did a great job at that, admitting that she was wrong, admitting that she was emotionally invested, and admitting that she's not the best to lead in this situation. That was really good of her as well. But Mack going out of his way to find Polly, to save Polly from the hands of those marauders, and make sure that she's reunited with her daughter, brings us to number 12. Something has changed. So a lot has actually changed. Daisy defeated Graviton, the Earth is not shattered, but more importantly, Fitz died instead of Mack. So what happened over there is that Fitz and May shouldn't have gone after Mack and Polly, and Mack and Polly should have died at that moment. And in that case, Fitz would have survived, everything would have been business as usual, as we did see during the flashbacks on episode 8 of the season. But that did change the moment that Fitz decided to go after Mack. Fitz's death was one of the most painful things I've had to watch on TV in a while. I don't think I had that many tears watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. since Spy's Goodbye as I had with this scene with Fitz's death. Now, you can't really really say that Turbo over here sacrificed himself in order to save Mack, but he did indeed die in return for saving Mack. But these final moments in Fitz's life and the moment he ended up dead, those were not just all about the emotional roller coaster that they brought. Those were about a lot more. Those were about making amends with Mack, Mack making amends with him, both of them realizing that everything, all the fights, all the problems, all the troubles that they've been through over the course of the season, all of that is water under the bridge because they do care about one another. They are teammates, and above it, they are friends, and above all of it, they are family. Number 13, speaking of that statement, something has changed. That doesn't mean that there was only one iteration of the time loop. Now, I don't really care how many iterations to the time loop there were. I really don't care. But nonetheless, I know a lot of people will twist statements in order to prove a theory that they had prior to the finale of the season, which I could do with a lot of theories, by the way, but you don't see me doing it. So first of all, a quick correction because I keep messing up in my head. What Robin said over there is something is different. And the first explanation that comes to mind when thinking of the statement is that something is different compared to Robin's knowledge, not compared to how many iterations there were, and not compared to every single iteration that there were. Now, so far, we know that what Robin sees is past, present, and future. We do not know that Robin sees across iterations. We do not know that she sees across the multiverse or across timelines. So it does not make any sense to try and assume over here that there was one iteration based on this one phrase she made during the events of the episode. That makes absolutely no sense. Number 14, and as expected, May did make the emotional decision. A lot of people kept arguing that with me in the comments when I did say that for the very first time ever, I'm expecting May to make an emotional decision on the finale of the season, and that she did. So pretty much there is good reason why Mack is the only one suitable for leadership over here. Mack makes the right decisions. Mack calls for a vote. Mack is the smarter leader out of them all. So Daisy was making an emotional decision trying to save Coulson. May on this episode didn't even try and make a decision and force it upon everyone. What she did over there is she made sure there was only one option. She destroyed that vial of odium. Fitz and Simmons, the ones who were supposedly the smartest ones on the team, the ones who were supposed to think things through in the most logical of manners, followed into Yo-Yo's bullshit, fed into Yo-Yo's bullshit about being invincible, and based their decisions on that, and helped her base her decisions on that as well. Yo-Yo was crazed by what she saw in the future, what she found out in the future, making impulsive decisions, making stupid decisions, and making ones based on emotion, and without even giving it a moment of thought, thinking everyone is the enemy, everyone doesn't believe her, and everyone doesn't care for what she thinks. That was pretty evident at some point on the finale of the season. All of these problems, all of this in-house fighting, all of it has been leading to this one final moment, a moment where Mack becomes the leader of the team, a moment where we see it clearly. Mack is best suited to be the leader of Team S.H.I.E.L.D.
Simmons and I will prepare the remedy. Everyone else should prepare for the end of the world.
That being said though, my work here is done. I would never want to end this video on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., on the season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I would want to talk and talk forever and until we get season 6. I could have given the season finale a 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10 because that last moment of the episode, they should have gone to deal with the events of Infinity War, decide to deal with them even if the series did not get us to the snap, instead of flying into space. But with that being said, let me know in the comments what you thought of the finale of season 5. Let me know what you thought of Fitz's death. Do you think Deke is gonna make it back on season 6? Do you think Coulson is gonna survive to season 6 and is going to live another day within S.H.I.E.L.D.? Do you think May is gonna rejoin S.H.I.E.L.D. whether Coulson dies or lives? Do you love how OP Daisy has become, and do you love how she defeated Talbot? Just let me know in the comments anything and everything you thought about while watching this episode, because this episode was indeed amazing. But you can let me know as well if you did like this video by dropping it a much appreciated like, and if that were to be the case, you could always subscribe and enable notifications for my future videos, community posts, and live streams. Until I see you next time though, thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.